You don't want reality. You can go to the supermarket for that. People ask me, oh, how do you know which one you're going to use? The hurdles of working with physical objects forces you to think differently. You got like a pedal brain freeze, and that's where the fun starts. Amazing.
Listening to music creates emotion. I think we can all agree on that. But what is it that makes that song that you love so special? You know, when the sum of the parts is way greater than their individual parts, like 1 + 1 + 1 = 100. This film is about Mattias, who is a music producer who thinks a bit differently. We made a whole documentary about him, which you can watch up here if you click the link here. But this is what he has to say about this whole thing.
When I'm asked to produce things and someone plays me a song, my immediate reaction to that is, how is this supposed to feel when the song has ended? What do you want to leave to the listener? Sure?
Sure.
Okay. I just want to know that when that last note hits, I have to know what emotion I want to leave to the listener. If I don't know that when I start recording, I won't record. Okay, now we are in the 5th version of my studio, if I count the apartment as being number 1. So I've moved around a lot, which becomes more and more difficult the more gear you get. If you count every individual drum and everything, it's probably over 1,000, right? Because I got 30 electric guitars from a guitar store. Do you want guitars? Yeah, sure. And they gave me like 32 guitars. They're just like piled up. That's some kind of art project. Now I have collected and acquired many artifacts and trinkets that I use when I record. I have school classes and like workshops in the studio. And people ask me, oh, how do you know which one you're going to use? And I think that is like the big thing. This is a Mellotron that I bought from South Africa, which was used by BBC. And what they did was that they had all the sound effects that they needed for their TV shows on tape. They would have maybe someone running down the street here. So it's lion roars, it's someone throwing something heavy into the water, and there's also a car crash. I don't think that I was ever interested in recording like a document of something. I didn't want it to be something that would be an accurate description of what was going on, because it's always going to be fake anyway.
And this is interesting, just like in this debate that's going on right now, whether a photo is real because it has been edited by AI or edited at all. Is it not a real photo if it's been edited? The thing with the photo is that it will never show reality. It will always show the choices the photographer has made. And it's the same thing with music. It's there to create an emotion, and that emotion is what makes it real. Not if the tone is exactly the same in your ear as it was when played in the studio where it was recorded.
When I listen to albums, I always envision them as being places, as like, oh, they're in this big empty warehouse in a abandoned industrial lot somewhere, or they're on a beach, or they're doing this, or they're doing that. So that was like, I started becoming aware of like the other part of recordings in that way. That was like the interesting part. First, when you start playing, you're interested in like doing all of that, and you do all of that, or you do that. But then it became more about, okay, but how does that make you feel when you hear that? How does that affect you as a listener? And when you get to that point, that's where all the interesting things happen. Now I'm doing the outro for the album. And for that you need a bird song played on a blind gramophone, and then you just put it through a analog delay. Working in a analog domain means that it changes constantly. If you have a set agenda, there might be issues. Let's find something a bit more cheerful. We were on tour with Pine Forest Crunch, and we were going from Los Angeles up to San Francisco, and we stopped by in Morro Bay, and they had like a little music shop, and they had this PMS auto pan pedal. So I bought this pedal, and I sat with this in my lap, and I started looking at it, and I was like, okay, what am I going to do with this? Okay, so what it does is it moves the sound between two different places. All right, cool. That's great. Suddenly it was like a very simple sequencer. And I was like, this can do everything. I was just telling everybody, like, do you know what you can do with this thing? This is like, and at the end I had like a headache because I was thinking about all the stuff that I could do with it. That is like, and it's so stupid and it's so simple. But you're just using something in a different way than it was planned to be used. Even worse is when you start thinking that, what if I reverse it? And then you have the headache. You got like a pedal brain freeze kind of a thing. And that's where the fun starts. Nästan ingenting är ju uppkopplat, ingenting är ju klart. Liksom. Utan allting, jag börjar alltid om liksom, nästan varje dag. Och det är bara för att jag inte ska ha liksom, att det ska vara några så här, jag gör som vanligt för att det är enklast liksom. Utan man börjar om alltid från början. För då blir man hela tiden så här, ja, men vad ska vi använda och till vad? Och varför väljer vi just den grejen liksom? The hurdles of working with like physical objects forces you to think differently. I think it forces you to approach it in a different way. A lot of the times you can have an artist come in and say, well, I want the guitar sound on this album. And then I'll go, well, I'll listen to it. Or I go like, well, it's probably going to be like, it's going to be that guitar and it's going to be this pedal and it goes out through that amplifier with this microphone. That's probably how they did it. That's where I come in and go, but they've already done that. Why would you want to replicate that? Wouldn't it be more fun that instead we would use that guitar going through that pedal into that amplifier, and we're going to use this microphone?
So what does it take to make a song great? Is it enough to show up with charming instruments and special music boxes to make something good? Or does it take something else?
You have to know what you're aiming for. It comes here with a song and they want me to produce it. I have to have a clear idea what it's supposed to be, you know. Usually it comes down to a conversation with the artist. You know, you try to figure out what they're aiming for. If they know what they want, they just want me to deliver that. They probably can do it by themselves. Then they don't need me. The best thing is if someone plays me a song and I feel, well, I have nothing to add. This is great. If people want to like pull their song through this and that, through distortion pedals, and I'm your guy. Having an openness and being reactive to what you're hearing. And in the end, if you're really, really lucky, you can do that at the end of the day and you press, and you go, this is amazing. I didn't know that we were going to do this today. I don't want to recreate stuff.
We went out on this day to film this film about sounds, and there are sounds absolutely everywhere. There are motorcycles on the streets, there's a car alarm going off in the background. Now it stopped, thank you.
And there's students.
And there are students that are exiting school today, so everyone is making noise. But that's not what I want to talk about right now, because if you like this film, if you like this kind of content, you should check out the full documentary we made about Mattias. It's more of his special machine sound equipment craziness, and more of his stories about music and what he really thinks about it. And it's really worth a watch. And if you like this kind of content, the documentaries and people doing good things in the world, you should hit subscribe right now. And also please leave a comment so that I know that you appreciate all the hard work that we put into this. And that's it for today. I hope you've enjoyed this, because I have. See you.